want to see what it is. So we're going to look at messaging, and that's text messaging and test steps, emails for test notes, and then emails also on activities now. The way to look at changes to workflows and scenarios. So if somebody screwed up your workflow or your scenario and you want to find out who that is, changes for the test header, and then I'm going to show the in plans, I'm going to show the new scheduler app. Okay, so the first thing about texting or messaging in general is obviously that the users need to be set up for that to occur. So if you're an admin, you can go in and update people yourself by going to users, or any user can go in and update themselves by clicking on their name and updating here. And it looks like most of the sites have set that up, but if your site hasn't, you can set it up for yourself, or if you're the testing coordinator, you can set it up for everybody. So the first thing I'm going to show is texting for test steps. So obviously we need to go into testing, and you don't have to go into the dashboard, but we'll go into the dashboard, and we're going to go into this violent patient scenario, and I'm going to complete this last step for the registration clerk. Looking ahead, I can see that the ED triage person has a little head there. That means somebody's set to cover it, and it's TransIT user. And TransIT user happens to have the same email address as me and the same phone number as me, which is very, very convenient for us to be able to show texting. So when I click this pass step here, because it's changed positions and it's moved to the ED triage nurse, it should send me a text message, and it did. I got my text message. And so I'll look at my text message, and it's going to take me just a second here that I will do a screenshot of it, and then you guys will be able to see it. So now if I just go grab it here. Oops. And it should be this one right at the top. So this is what the text message looks like. The text messages come from the same phone number, and I guess I should have probably put that into my note here. But the phone number that they come from is 844-631-1878. So you can see what I've done is I've gone into my phone and I've added that as make texting, just so that I don't think of these as being bogus texts when they come in. So from here, it tells you what step is due up and what scenario it is. And if you were actually on your phone or on an iPad, this is a link that will actually take you right to that test step should you want to access it on your phone or your iPad. So that's the first thing. And then the things to note are that if you're completing multiple positions for your organization, so if you're the unit clerk and you're the nurse, and you're the nurse too, and you're the ICU nurse, if you're doing all of those steps in a row, it won't send you messages. So it only sends a message if the person who completes the last step of the first position is different from the first step of the next position. So we've tried to really think how to reduce the amount of texting or emailing, but still make it help the testing coordinator out. So emails from test steps work the same way. And so when I sent that, I had it set up to get both emails and texts, and I did in fact get both. One of the things that people have asked for a long time is the ability to get emails from test notes. So for a long time now, we've had the ability to get emails from issues, but we just recently added the ability to do the same from notes. So it's the same thing. If I'm the one filling it out, it won't send me a text. But if I go into this test note here and I assign it to someone else, I'm going to assign it to, I guess, Reggie. When it changes assignment, then Reggie's going to get an email. Now, if we wait a second, I'm pretty sure Reggie also has my email address. So this is what Reggie got, that this note was assigned to him, and it has a link in it. So if I want to go and access that scenario, I click here. And because I was already signed on, it took me right here. If I hadn't already been signed on, then it would have brought me to a sign-on screen. And then Reggie just goes here and goes to open scenario and makes the change. Puts in the doctor's name, saves it, closes the window, and updates this to addressed. So especially for people who are making script corrections as opposed to fixing issues, I think this will be a real welcome change. The last one on notifications that I'm going to show then is for activities. So I'll go over to one of our plans here. And I think many of the sites are using plans already, but not all of the sites. So if your site isn't using plans and you're not sure how to get started, just log a ticket to the support desk and we'll be more than happy to help you. So if I go into, let's see, I'll go into this required build step plan. And in it, you see I've got these 3 steps that are supposed to start today. So if I wanted to send a reminder to these people, then I can just shift on the first one, click on the first one, shift click on the second one, right click, and I've got the ability to send an email now. So it's going to pop open and it's telling me I'm sending activities to both Fred and to Barry. And so then I can put a message in. And hit send, and it lets me know that those emails, so it's sending 3 activities are being emailed. And again, since Fred and I share an email address, I'll be able to show you what that looks like in a second here. Oh, it wasn't Reggie. So maybe, so that one, we may not be able to show you the email because I didn't get it. So because it wasn't my email address, but at any rate, it comes up with an email and it shows you one line for each of the activities. Oh, I lied. I did get it. Fred also shares my email address. So here's what it looks like. And each of the activities is listed in here. And these are, of course, links to those activities. So if you're not using plans yet, this might not make a lot of sense. But if you do use plans for cutovers in particular, especially during the cutover time when you've got a whole bunch of people who are trying to get activities done at once, and you want to let them know they're coming up and give them easy access to go and where an update in the plan, sending out a quick email is a pretty useful thing. Does anyone have any questions on the messaging, or should I move on? Okay, I'll take that as a moving on. I'm not sure whether or not this was available when we did the training sessions or not, but there is in TransIT, there's always been an audit function, so it's always written to the background, but I'm not sure everyone always knew that that was there, but also it's a lot to look through. So the thing that people want to know most when they're going to the audit is who screwed up my workflow or who screwed up my scenario. So now we've added a feature. If you just go to any workflow and you right click, there's a view changes available. So this will tell you everybody who has worked on this and what they did to change it. So much more convenient than going to the audit. So this is what it looks like from a workflow perspective. And if we go into a scenario and I'm not sure if this one will have anything. We can view the changes here. Nope. So let's go to the one above that we just did the change in ourselves and view changes. And you can see here that it shows the changes that were done and who did them. So again, I think people are always wanting to know when multiple people are updating scripts at the same time, who clobbered their changes or who ruined what they were doing. And so now we track that in a way that's easy to get at. If I go back over to the testing here, we've made some recent changes around the test header. One of them is the ability to hover now. So if you say you're having a scenario that's got 3 or 4 fins in it, and you've got them all listed in there, the hover now gives you the label. So it shows you what the label is for this data element that you've chosen. So here for the baby, it shows you the first one is the baby, and the second one is, sorry, the first one is the mom, and the second one is the baby. So, you know, if you had multiple fins, or if it was multiple names in there, it was a John Doe scenario or whatever, they would all show. And by looking at this, it would say which one was fin 1 and which one was fin 2, for example. Another change that has really, I think, helped things, if we go into edit the test header now, we've made this so that it's more edit on the line. So you don't have to click the pencil. So if you wanted to go in and fill in what the MRN was, you just double click here and fill it in and save it. So that, I think, is also a lot less labor intensive for doing those updates that you do to the dynamic variables. Moving on then, does anybody have any questions about the test header? There was other things that were broken in it that have been fixed since go live, but they are things that you would have been expecting to work anyway, like searching in the pencil here through fields. Moving on to plans, if no one has any questions. I wanted to show, and actually maybe I'll cheat here, and maybe I'll show from an actual client organization a schedule plan that was used recently for a recent go live. So I don't know that if people didn't go to the training events, or if they haven't had a chance to get in yet, you might not even know that we have this new ability to do a schedule. And so you could use this for anything. This could be if you had your on-call schedule for your team that you wanted to keep, or in this case, it was the go live schedule for an upgrade. And so it shows in here, you know, who the person is and what role they're on, and there's an ability to group it. So in here, if I go in and I say I want to group by role, then it sorts alphabetically. So here's the coordinator who was on, here's the manager who was on at each time, and so on down the list. The green colors mean that the people who are in those roles are people who you've said have that role assigned to them. If you put somebody into a role that isn't assigned to them, it shows up as red, as well as ones that aren't assigned show up in red. So the idea is you look for what's red in here, and you know that that's what you need to go out and fix. So that brings me to my last scheduled topic, which was a reminder about roles. Roles are important in plans, and they are only available to be used if pre-built. So to build a role, your admin has to go to users and then click on the roles, and then they can just be added here. So the things that you would go out and pre-build are the things that you have in your cutover plans, or the things that you have in your required build steps. So build out all your analysts, build out anything that you would assign to a group of people. And the reason to have those there is not only for that staffing plan, but also if you have a cutover plan that you use for all of your upgrades, and there's a step in it that says that you want to say it's load your registrations that happen during the downtime or whatever, and you don't know who it's going to be assigned to, but you know it's going to be assigned to the registration SME, then you can sign it in your plan to the registration SME, and when the patient access person tells you who's going to be on that night, you can then replace it with the real name. But it's also good, like I said, for the staffing plans. So those were all of the things that I had scheduled to show. Mostly things that have been turned on since we went live with 5.0, and then this scheduling piece that I just want to get out there because I don't know that many people are aware of it. So I know there's 2 sites who have tried to use it already, and there's a third site that's looking at using it for a site rollout. But we think it's going to be a really useful tool for everyone. And there is, you know, like I said, things like your on-call schedule would be a good thing to put in there, or your staffing for go live, or things like that. And we're adding more functionality to it as we go. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've shown or anything that I haven't shown that we could use the rest of the time for? Somebody can ask a question? Pam, did you have a question?
Oh, sorry. I thought I hit it back on mute. I was going to, but then I thought, well, maybe not.
You can ask anything you like.
Well, whenever you go, your scenario is complete. It is, some of the analysts here are not finding it easy to go and see the completed steps.
Okay.
And I know now
that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Oh,
so
okay.
There's a couple of steps to it. So none of these are complete, but if you go in here and you want to get back to the steps that have already been completed, what you do is you go and take out this filter here, and it'll show you everything that's been completed. But it's only going to show you for the specific day on the row you clicked on. So if you want to see the entire scenario, you also have to remove the day filter. Great question, Pam.
Well,
so now it'll show you the whole scenario. Pardon me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What we thought we had to do was go under status and select all those different status types. But I
can do that as well. You can do that as well.
This is easier.
Yeah, no, this is easier, but you can do it either way. But obviously, removing the completed is easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
In addition to that, you should probably right-click the header and page size all first.
Yes, Angela's right. So if you do the page size all first, and then you remove the filter on the status, and then remove the filter on the day, that's the better way to do it.
Awesome. Thank you, Patty and Angela. I appreciate it.
No problem. Like, if anybody has any questions like that, like, all questions are good questions. The other thing I will say is we are working on the user guides right now. I know it's been hard to roll it out without the user guide, but I didn't want to delay the go live because we had those other sessions. So our goal is to get the user guides posted before the middle of next month. And they are huge like they were before. Are there any other questions that anyone has? The other thing is, I'm not sure that people realize how seriously we take the enhancement requests. So there's a few sites who are really good about sending an enhancement request, and they'll tell you that we're fairly responsive with them. But there's other sites we don't hear from at all. So we really do schedule our development based on the things that you guys are asking us for. So by all means, if you have any requests or if there's anything you don't understand how it works or you'd like it to work differently, all you have to do is email support@makesolutionsInc.com, and we monitor those very, very quickly and get updates back to you, asking for additional feedback, screenshots if you have it, those sorts of things. Does anyone else have any questions?
And by fast, I'll just say for you guys, sometimes it's a sub 5-minute turnaround.
Depends on what it is, right, Travis?
That's right. It can happen very fast.
Yeah. Oh, and there is one thing that like it's I don't know if anyone will even notice, but we did also recently change in the issue log. We changed if you go into any issue, we changed, this used to be called issue type. We changed it to be category, and that's because we're planning additional development around that. So we're trying to make the issue list the place where you would also go to enter risks, or if you had design documents that you were sending out for approval for a team of people and you wanted to put that in transit. So we changed it instead to be called category. So if you open up an issue now, you'll see instead of it saying issue type, it says category. But all we did was change that label to make it more inclusive of the plan development that we have. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great weekend. And we again have moved these to quarterly. If we hear back from you guys that you would like us to move back to monthly, we'll look at doing that. But otherwise, the next one would be in October. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.